Hello, thank you all for coming. Welcome to the Nest Practitioner webinar series. My name is Debbie Ventura, and I will be your host this evening. We have a really great topic tonight, and I'm super excited that we get to talk about it. It is LinkedIn Magic, 5 easy steps to build your Nest practice using LinkedIn. And I really want to introduce you to our speaker tonight. We are so blessed to have Linda Goldman with us. Linda Goldman is a copywriter for Nest Health. She is the author of more than 35 books, including LinkedIn Magic for Your Small Business and Marketing Gems, 50 Secrets to Marketing Natural Products. And I actually have downloaded Linda's books on my Kindle and devoured them. They're super helpful. They're really great. So I would totally recommend jumping in and grabbing her books. Linda built her alternative health copywriting business on LinkedIn. And then Harry found her online. And so Linda now works almost full-time with Nest, and in her spare time, she publishes an online newsletter for consumers called Healthy Organic Woman, and she also publishes a marketing blog called Fresh Customers Daily. So if you have any questions about LinkedIn, or if you would ever like to publish a guest article for her newsletter, Healthy Organic Woman, you can reach out to Linda. I think we'll show her address at some point. Yep, there's Linda's fantastic books that I can totally recommend. And her email address is Linda, L-Y-N-D-A, at lindagoldmancopywriting.com, and we'll display that again before we're done. So, okay, let's see. Let me, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you can hold your questions until the end, we'll get all your questions answered. If there's something pressing that is sort of, a burning question that you need to ask while we're going, or it's not going to make sense if you wait, feel free to type it into the chat box, and we'll watch for your questions. And if something comes up that we need to interrupt Linda, we will stop her and ask those questions. And so as we move through tonight's talk, we're going to be looking at, first of all, who is LinkedIn for? We're also going to talk about how is LinkedIn different from Facebook and Twitter. Linda's also going to help us understand how Nest practitioners can benefit specifically from using LinkedIn. And she's going to tell us what the #1 rule on LinkedIn is. And she's going to also share with us 7 ways that LinkedIn can help us with our Nest practice, building our Nest practice. In part 2, we're then going to cover the 5 easy steps to actually building your Nest practice using LinkedIn. So that's our agenda for the evening. And so I think now I will turn it over to Linda.
Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
So let's start with who LinkedIn is for and how it's different from other social media platforms. And I absolutely love LinkedIn because it's for professionals. It's for people that want to talk about business as opposed to some of the other platforms, which, Facebook is really for, sharing with friends, with family, sharing photos, sharing news. Sure, there are a lot of people selling on Facebook, and you can do that, but it's a little bit harder because you're one step away. People are not there to buy something. They just want to, share things. So Twitter, again, is short messages. All of these platforms can be very useful for building relationships. But when it comes to business relationships, to me, LinkedIn, it's just hands down the best platform ever because people there are serious, they're professional, they want to connect with people, they're looking for everything from business partners to people to buy from, people that are suppliers, people that they can, sell to if it's the right products or services. And I've been on all of the platforms myself, and I literally built my copywriting business a couple of years ago. I was doing general copywriting, and when I decided to specialize in alternative health, I had general copywriting clients, but not alternative health ones. And so I started my profile on LinkedIn and literally built up my whole clientele only pretty much from LinkedIn. So that's why I'm so excited about it. And it seems a little daunting when you don't know what to do, but once you see how easy it is, you're going to love it and you're going to find great, great benefits. So I want to start with 7 ways that LinkedIn can help Nest practitioners, and I really thought about this carefully because it can help any business professional. But for Nest practitioners, there are some specific things you can do. So the first is to build your brand as a Nest practitioner, and I'm going to show you some ways to do that visually and with keywords. The second is to establish your authority as a knowledgeable bioenergetics practitioner or expert, and there are many ways we can do that with articles, etc. So we're going to talk about that. Now here's something that could be really incredible for any Nest practitioner who wants to sell the system to other alternative health practitioners who don't know about bioenergetic sales, could be interested, because I can tell you that LinkedIn is just loaded with alternative health groups and people, practitioners of all kinds, and many of them would love to find a new way to add revenue to their practice. Many of them are really struggling. You can be a fantastic health practitioner but not have very many clients. So this is a wonderful way where you can actually boost your own income if that's what you want to do, and you'll see how to do it. It's so easy. If you, as Justin always says, if you know how to talk about what you do, you can sell. So once I show you how to make the right connections, you'll be able to do that. Another thing is get publicity, and I've been asked to speak at events in front of my target audience. I've been asked to write for publications. All kinds of opportunities come to you when you put out the right keywords, and people who are looking will find you. And it could be someone in your hometown or area. It could be, I was flown out to Natural Products Expo East and West, which are huge, huge conferences twice, just because they found me on LinkedIn and got to speak in front of my target audience about my topic. So I got paid for it. So what could be better than that? So you could get to speak in front of your target audience just from people who find you, and maybe a local event is going on, an alternative health event, and they'll ask you to speak about Nest or about bioenergetics, and you'll get a whole bunch of clients. So something to think about, the publicity angle. You can form alliances and partnerships with other practitioners. So let's say you get together with other alternative health practitioners who are not Nest, and maybe for some reason they're not ready or it takes time, but maybe you can have a referral back and forth. You work with some of their clients, they work with some of yours. So it's amazing what comes to you. You don't even have to look for it sometimes, just people approach you, or you could approach other people. You learn about things going on. If you join certain groups, you'll find out which conferences are going on that might be interesting, alternative health or natural product conferences or other things that are useful to you. And of course, I mean, the one of the best things about LinkedIn is that you can reach a global audience, and now with remote scanning, you can work with clients anywhere in the world. Before LinkedIn, I used to spend a lot of time going to networking events that were local, and the problem with that is they were very time consuming. They cost money to join and go and take time away from your work, and then you had no guarantee that anybody there was even remotely interested, to use the remote scanning idea, in what you were doing. There might be people selling insurance and all kinds of things that had no interest in you, and you had no interest in them. With LinkedIn, you can go directly to people who are interested. You don't have to, go to the insurance sites or the home building sites or whatever that doesn't interest you. So that's why you can target your audience and the people you want to connect with. So that's what I love about it. So let's go over the #1 rule on LinkedIn, which is, and this is a #1 rule for any kind of networking, is you never try to sell. You always start a dialogue. You start a conversation, you start a relationship. Some of them will go somewhere, some of them won't, but that's fine, because in networking, you don't go up to someone and say, hey, here's what I do you want to buy it? I mean, that doesn't happen, or somebody will run the other way. So, of course, you don't want to do that on LinkedIn either. So let's go to the first step, and really I broke this down into 5 easy steps, and they're in my book as well. A lot of this comes from my book, and believe me, I make pennies on the book, so I'm not advertising it for any reason that I'm making money out of it. It's just really, it's very helpful, the book, because it goes through a lot of things that I don't have time to go through on the webinar, and it also has more detail about everything. So it's available if you want it afterwards. But these are some things that I already had organized when I wrote the book. So the first one is to create an all-star profile. And why do you want to do that? Because when you reach all-star, your keywords and your name will start showing up much more when anyone clicks those keywords. So if you just have a small number of people on your list, and you need at least 50, but if you kind of don't do much on LinkedIn, you won't show up much. But the more you put into your profile, the more you fill out every section, the more you have keywords, the more you'll start showing up. And then what happens is people start sending you invitations to connect. And that makes it much easier because you can just accept or not. Mostly I do accept almost all invitations. And I just want to quickly mention that because I didn't bring it up later. People always ask me, well, should I accept all the invitations? That's completely up to you. Some people have a kind of idea like I'm only going to connect with someone I know. Well, to me that doesn't make sense, because if you already know them, why are you on LinkedIn? It's the idea is to meet new people. Sometimes people will send me invitations and they're completely out of my industry, but sometimes you never know. They might have someone they know, a family member, someone else who's interested. So I basically mostly accept all invitations, but that's up to you. So with the all-star status, this is the basic, there are 7 components, and you need to fill in all of these as much as possible. And you'll see when you go on your own profile where they are and how to do them. So let's look at some examples, some parts of this where I think some people have done a really good job. So the first one, of course, is our star Debbie. And I have to tell you that I gave her a few suggestions yesterday, because some of these things were not in place yesterday, but they are today, because she did a fabulous job of fixing up her profile very fast. So it really takes only minutes. Debbie can probably attest to that. Really, it just takes a few minutes to do some parts of your profile, right, Debbie? If you're still there. So the first thing is to...
I'm here. Yeah, it was...
Yeah, okay. So the first thing is keywords. Keywords are the most important thing, and you have to use them liberally everywhere. You have to sprinkle keywords everywhere. For example, in your profile at the end, there's something about interests, and a lot of people, put things like they like to walk on the beach and drink pina coladas. That's where you put in keywords. Like you can put in your interest in reading about health or something, but don't use the space for nothing. It's not Facebook where you talk about your beach vacation. You use keywords in every single place you can. This is a little ninja trick. You see where Debbie's name is, and right beside it, it says Ness Health Practitioner. Now, I didn't actually even realize you could do this until recently, but in the space where you write your name, and I'll show you where that is later, you can actually put in a whole lot of stuff in there. And LinkedIn always has a certain space, so you can't, the space is finished, that's all you can put in. But beside your name, you can actually squeeze in a title. So some people put their credentials, like PhD or MD, which is great as well. You can choose what to put in, but just to know that you can use it. And then you'll see that underneath it says Bioenergetic Health Practitioner. Now, you can think about that. Some people might want to put Alternative Health Practitioner or wellness practitioner, whatever it is. Think about what you want to put in there. Bioenergetic is a good keyword. It may be one that not everyone knows about. So people might be using words like wellness or alternative health. Alternative health is actually one of the most used ones. So if you want to show up, try to use some different ones and different variations of them in different places. And then you'll see under that on the right side, it says health, wellness, and fitness. So it allows you to choose your category. So make sure you choose that one, because that's really what Ness is all about. You'll also notice on this screen, there's a place to send a message, and you'll see that Debbie is a #1 connector, a connection to me, which is why it says that little #1 right beside Ness. That means Debbie and I are #1 connections, so we can send messages and refer each other, people to each other, etc. If you see 2 or 3, that's a number 2 or 3 connection. It means number 2 means a connection of a connection, so it means you're not connected with that person, but you're connected to someone who is. And number 3 means you're not connected. So sometimes LinkedIn will not allow you to send the messages. You have to be a connection to freely send messages. The other thing I want to show you on this profile is 146 connections. And that's a number that you want to get a bit higher. 146 is fine, but if you get to a few hundred, it looks more credible on LinkedIn. It looks like you're active on LinkedIn. So I have, once you get to 500, it doesn't go any higher. It just says plus, so you don't really know how many someone has. But if you're active on LinkedIn, I would suggest that you try to get to 500. It's really pretty easy. It goes up pretty fast, but it's not crucial, but just make it a thought that you should get your connections higher. All right, here's another one, which I think is great. Verena, she used PhD beside her name, which of course is very important to have your credentials. Probably if she wanted to, she could even add Nest Practitioner if she wants to there. I also like that she used Integrative Healing and Wellness Consultant, because those are also keywords. Integrative, wellness, healing, those are good keywords. So you can think about which are the best keywords for you and choose the ones and vary them a bit, so that different people looking for your specialty will type in different things and you'll attract more people. So the next thing, so now we talked about your headline and your keywords. A professional photo is crucial. And if you look at these pictures, if you look at the first one, well, he has a dog on his lap. I don't think that's a great picture. You might love, although Harry gets to use his dog, but not everyone else can all the time. So the next one, you could barely see him. And the third one doesn't even have a picture. So those are people that you wouldn't want to connect with, because you don't feel like you have a connection with them. The fourth one, I mean, she has a lovely picture. She's smiling right at you. It's a clear picture. She looks professional. So, that really makes you have confidence, especially when you're looking for a health practitioner. You want to have confidence in that person, and a clear picture like Debbie's and Verena's, those are beautiful pictures. All right, another thing that LinkedIn allows now, that's fairly new within the last few months, is to have a background image. And I think it's a wonderful thing because it gives some color. It allows you to use branding. So if you have a website with certain colors, with certain images, you can put up an image behind you. Just be careful because the middle is blocked out. So you can't use anything that's too detailed right in the middle. But you have to try a few things, but it's really easy. You just click and it just goes, gets uploaded right away. So it's very easy. I love Debbie's, it's very lively. For my own picture, I had something with food before, and I just found this lovely autumn leaf picture, and the leaves are starting to change, so I decided to change my picture just for now because it spoke to me. So you can change it seasonally, you can change it when you're have something new to offer. I mean, that's something you can play with, and it just gives a little life to your character, to your background. Now I'm going to give you some more ninja tricks. So in the contact information at the bottom of your profile, it says view profile as, and then you'll see on the right side it says contact information. So if you click that button, you have to be in your own profile in editing mode, and it says edit this contact information. And you'll see where in that little box in the middle it says company website. So too many people just leave it as company website, but there's something much better that you can do, and that's over here. This is my own. I can only show you my own profile because I can't edit anyone else's. So where, I'll show you, you see where it said edit, and under websites it says personal website. So you can actually click through there till you get to personal website instead of company website and put your own website in there. And then it says below it you can put more websites, or you could put a link. I have a link to my books on Amazon, and put some kind of catchy name there. So these are all ways that you really help people find you, you help people connect with you, and you put your name and your website out there just to make it easier for people. So let's go on to other sections. So first of all, the background, just below the main part of your profile is a background and summary section. And the most important thing is this is not a resume. Do not put every school you went to and every club you joined or whatever. It's really not a job application webinar. It's about your customers and what you can do for them. So you should actually write a little message to your customers saying, you know, you can benefit from this or that because I provide the following, this is how it works. Use more you words than I words, and make it lively. Tell a story, use images from Ness. Here's one clever person that did that. I can't remember where I got this, but it's one Ness practitioner used this, or maybe it was Alvin, I'm not sure. So use images from Ness if you want. I mean, they want you to use it. Just make it interesting. Don't be boring, in other words. I love Verena's summary here, and here's why. First of all, it clearly explains what she does. It shows passion, it shows expertise, it shows specialization. It has bullet points and spacing, so it's not just a big block of gray text. She broke it up and into paragraphs. She has some bullet points at the end. And most of all, it's about helping the reader. It's about you. It's about the person reading. It's not about her and, you know, what she did. So, you know, you could use this as an idea, as an a starting point. You could look at mine, although, you know, I'm not an S practitioner, but I have some other, you know, I'm a copywriter, so it's about my clients. And just make it about the reader. You know, that's what you should do on your website as well. The website. Your website is about your reader, it's not about you, and so is your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so let's continue. Now, when you continue down on your profile, the next thing you're going to see is these colorful boxes, and that's where you have your skills. Now, until about a day or two ago, I found this little thing on Debbie's website where she had a whole bunch of skills that were not related to what she's doing now. So when I spoke to her, I suggested that she update the skills, and so she now has much better skills such as wellness, stress management, healing, energy, etc. I think these are actually from someone else's, but they were from another Nest practitioner. But you can see that these are all places to get keywords in there. So make sure that you could, if someone wants to endorse you for a skill that you don't have, like sometimes people want to endorse me for management or something, I don't do that. So I just exit out. So you don't have to keep what's there, and you can put in the top skills that you have. The next thing is recommendations, and this is really important. First of all, to give them and then to receive them. So I actually gave, this is a recommendation that I gave to Debbie because Debbie helped me with a family member. And so I gave her a very nice endorsement saying that she, you know, she's an expert and she helped with a family member and I highly recommend her. And then she can even treat you remotely via Skype or phone. So I thought that was a nice thing to do for Debbie, and if Debbie wants to do something for me, that's great, and if she doesn't get around to it, that's fine as well. But, you know, just be a giver, give recommendations, and people will start recommending you as well. There's also a way to ask for recommendations in your profile at the bottom. You can click down and you can say, would you like to recommend my services? And you can easily send this to your clients that you've treated if they're on LinkedIn, and just say, you know, if my services were satisfactory, if they helped you, please would you consider writing a recommendation? And most people are very happy to do it. So the only thing is, make sure that your recommendations are actually authentic and they're not from your mother. So the next thing is certification and education. And again, put in your Nest certification, put in everything that's relevant, and anything that's really not relevant, if it's something you did in the past that has no relevance to what you're doing, then don't don't worry about it. Like, just, you can take it out. You can't actually get rid of it, but it'll get pushed to the bottom, and the newest thing is always at the top. So just put in anything new that you've done as far as education, certification, training, etc., and it'll stay at the top. You also want to optimize your profile, as I said, using keywords everywhere, but take advantage of Nest videos and articles, make it colorful and lively. So here's a practitioner that put up the video, and that's a wonderful way to make it, you know, lively and add some color. And you can put video in very easily. If you've written any books or any articles, you can upload those. So, you know, just put in as much content and as much interactive content as you can. Okay, I'm going to stop for a second just to see if there's any questions before we go on to how to use LinkedIn. Debbie, are there any questions coming up?
Not so far. I think
okay.
We're all listening.
Okay, perfect. So that's the basics of your profile. Now, what I just want to say is you have to fool around with it a little bit. So you have to give yourself a little time to click around, try a few things. Don't be scared of it. If you don't like something, you just go back into your profile and change it, and it's changed right away. Nobody will see it. And there's even a way to put it into you know, a mode where people don't see it until you save the changes. So just go in, do your profile, get a nice picture if you don't have one. It's really worth it. And you know, get your profile optimized as much as possible, and then you're ready to start using LinkedIn. So let's talk about how we can connect and how you can grow your network. So the first thing is you want to start connecting with people. Now, some people will start connecting with you, and so you just, you know, once your profile, the more keywords you have, the more people will start connecting with you. But you can also start connecting with people. And a good way to do this is in the search bar, right at the top, there's a little drop-down menu, and you can search for people, jobs, companies, etc. So you can put in a keyword like bioenergetics or alternative health, health practitioner, and just see who comes up under those keywords. You can look for groups, wellness groups, alternative health groups. There's tons and tons of them. And so let's say you find someone, maybe someone you met at a conference, maybe somebody you know from somewhere else, and you want to connect with them. So you put them in, and you'll see if their profile comes up. Obviously, they have to be on LinkedIn or they won't come up. But if they are, then you just send them a message saying, I'd like to connect with you, and I'll show you how to do that. But an even better way to do that is to use the connections of connections. So since you can go to Harry's profile or Andrea's profile or Debbie's profile and see who they're connected with, and those will be like-minded people that are also in the alternative health space. So you could go to any of those, and maybe you'll see, you know, a chiropractor that you know, or a spiritual healer or somebody else, and send them a connection, send them an invitation to connect. So connections of connections are a really good way to find like-minded people. Then groups are an amazing way to find people. And I mean, this is, I think I copied these groups from Verina's section. There's tons and tons of groups in everything to do with health, with natural health, with anything to do with yoga and natural healing and integrative health and lifestyles and wellness. I mean, you just type in those words and groups will come up. And a good way to find groups is to look at the groups of your connections. So let's say you're connected with somebody who's another health practitioner, look at their groups. Obviously, some people are in more groups than others, but look for somebody's group and then just click on that group and go into it and you'll see. So if you look at this here, if you look at the third one, you'll see that Thrive, a wellness professional group, has 20,000 members. So that's really a lot of members. Natural and integrative health, the second one on the left, 13,000 members. Some of them have 1,000. Some of them just have a few members. Sometimes you'll see a very small group. So I wouldn't bother joining a group that has 100 members because it's going to be very dormant, like nobody is active there. If nobody's joining the group, you're going to be wasting your time, you know, connecting with 3 people. So I would go to a larger group and start looking at profiles, start finding people that you want to connect with that could be, good connections for you, send them invitations and join that group. Now, when you join groups, you have to request to join, and often it's just instant. They'll just let you in, but sometimes the group member, there's a moderator for the group. There's always a moderator, but sometimes it's just easy to join. Sometimes you have to wait. And so the moderator will send you an email within, a few hours usually. If you don't have keywords that relate to that group, like your keywords are something completely different, they may not let you in. So they want to know that there's only wellness professionals in this group. And so if you have some keywords from some other job that you did in the past and you haven't changed them, they might say, well, you're not qualified for this group. So that's another reason to have really good keywords. And a good way to find the keywords is to go into these groups and look at the keywords the members have and then add those to your own. Obviously, it has to apply to what you do. So, so that's a good way to find groups. And then within the groups, you can make connections more easily. So let's say you find someone you want to connect, and then you click on connect with that person, and this will pop up. So now they're going to ask you, how do you know this person? How do I know Victoria? So you have a few choices. If you've done business together, like you've worked for them or they've worked for you, that's the obvious place. And so if you have, but it's going to come up as your business. So if somebody is your client, it'll come up as this person has worked for me. LinkedIn is really not kind of set up for practitioners, it's set up for jobs. So the language is not always perfect for us, but it works pretty well anyway. You could look for classmates if you find people from your professional educational background or from your university or whatever. You can look for colleagues, maybe other Nest practitioners that you want to join with, and that's good also because we should all be connected. You can put in friend. Now that's a little touchy because if you just put friend and they don't know you, some people will not accept. I always try to spend some time on their profile, and so this person was in the organic industry and I was writing about organic health. So I put, we're both in the organic industry, I'd like to add you to my professional profile. Now, if you put other, it may not work, and if you put I don't know Victoria, for sure it's not going to work, so don't click those. And when you try to connect, there's a generic message that comes up that says, I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. I always suggest you customize it a little bit. You could leave that as a second part. Put their name in. I always say hi and the name, and then put something about them. You can put a lot more, actually, like we both did such and such. We both went to school together. I notice you like some particular thing that I do. We both like, roller skating or jogging in the park or whatever it is. So try to find something on their profile and make a real connection. Don't just randomly, press buttons and connect with people, because it's not a real connection and you won't get any benefits out of it anyway. So here's an example of how you can find someone in a group. Inside a group is always easier because you'll see that right here that there's a connect button. So this person, Karen, she's in a group. She's a medical specialist. And if I want to connect with her, I would just press this button. It would bring me up to the screen here. And in the past, actually, LinkedIn had a place that you could say we're in the same group. Now they changed it a little bit. But you can still mention, hey, we're in the same wellness group. I'd like to connect with you. And this is a really warm way to make connections within a group. So I'll talk about groups soon, but look inside groups once you join them, and you'll find a lot of good people to connect with, especially if you're joining a lot of wellness groups. So now let's say you have some connections, some people have connected with you, and so what do you do with these connections? So in marketing, we always talk about funnel systems. And if anyone from Nest, from the office is listening, we're all doing funnel systems, right? Harry wants funnel systems, and that's what we're doing. So you funnel people in at the top, In other words, you gather people that are like-minded, that are interested, and then you bring them down the funnel by offering them something or connecting with them in some way. And this is how really online business works, and probably all business works. So within the funnel system, this is what I do, and you're welcome to swipe what I do. I have a few messages which I keep on my desktop, and I've written them in advance, and I just kind of copy and swipe them, but I customize them a little bit each time. So maybe you can do better. Maybe this is not the most brilliant thing, but I just start with thanks for connecting on LinkedIn. And then, so that's after someone has connected with me or accepted my connection. So then I send them an email and I say, hi, or you could do this within LinkedIn as well. Hi, and I put their name. Great to meet you on LinkedIn. How can we help each other? I have a free report, and I think this is really good to have a free report, and you could use the Nest ones. Would you like a copy? If so, please email me outside of LinkedIn. So actually, this is within the LinkedIn forum that I'm doing this. It's a message that I send within LinkedIn. And I put my email address because what I want to do is get them off LinkedIn. I don't want to keep the relationship in LinkedIn because then you're always kind of stuck in LinkedIn. So I try to get their email address, and then you could form a bit of a deeper relationship. I look forward to hearing from you and your name. Now, let's say someone connects with you, so you need a follow-up message. So, or they email you back and they connect with you and they accept your message. So then I say, thanks for connecting. My free report is attached. This is now an email message. And if it's okay, I'll sign you up for my free email newsletter. Now, this was really valuable. This is the way I got my clients, and you can customize this for yourself, like if you want to get clients for your practice, is to have a newsletter, which I think is a brilliant idea. And so then you can use articles from Nest. You don't even have to write them yourself. And get them on your newsletter list, because then you can start a relationship with them. It's not just a one-time LinkedIn connection and then you never hear from them again. So what I did, as I said at the end, I offer a free 20-minute consultation, but that may or may not be right for you. So, you know, customize this to yourself. I meant on your website, because I did web copy. So, you know, use what parts of this are useful for you and customize it. So don't just, you know, kind of blindly copy it, but customize it and take the good parts that work for you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about harnessing group power. And this is the most powerful part of LinkedIn. So if you go to the top search box and you click over here, one of the drop-down menus is Find a Group, as you can see here. And all you do is enter a topic or a keyword. You can enter wellness, health, alternative health. Try to be a little more specific and see what happens. Try bioenergetic health. Try different keywords and see what groups come up. And chances are you're going to find tons and tons of groups. And so check the group out. Look at who's in the group. Usually you can, when you check out the group, you can see who's in the group. You can see what kind of profiles they have. And if you want to join, then just request to join. And as I mentioned, usually you can get right in, but sometimes it takes a little time. So now when you join the group, it's a question of how many groups. You can join up to 50 groups. And at one point, I think I do belong to 50 groups. That may sound like a lot, but you could weed it out after a while and kind of narrow it down to a few groups where there's good discussion going. You'll find out where there's a lot of stuff going on. Some groups are not very active, or maybe the topics are not of interest to you. Or you could just leave it and just not go to that group. And there's a way to customize how often you get email, because if you join 50 groups, I didn't put this on, but it's in my book, you can decide not to get email from the group or to get daily email or email digests. If you get daily email, be very careful, because you're going to get an influx of comments and people in the groups every day, and it's just too much. So I usually have maybe a couple of groups where I have some daily email or weekly email, and then some of the groups I just dip into every so often. But you have to experiment a bit to find out which are good groups for you. Once you join, you have to be visible. So A good way to do it is to ask questions, start a discussion, upload an article, or comment on topics. So sometimes people are asking questions, they're asking for help on certain things. If you know the answer, jump in and help, but don't try to sell. Never try to sell in a group, because you could get banned from the group, or people will not be very happy and not want to associate with you. So always just be offering help. And once you form a relationship, once you start a relationship, then you take it to the next step. You can offer, a phone consultation, or say, let's have a phone call, let's have a Skype call, find out how you can help each other, how they can help you, how you can help them. Invite people and make connections within the group, and also post articles. And sometimes you'll get a lot of discussion on articles, sometimes you won't get any. I once posted an article on, it wasn't even mine, I didn't even write it, I found it somewhere online, and it was about whether we should eat organic food from China. I got months of comments. I didn't even do anything, and people connected with me just because I posted that article. I didn't even give my opinion, but people were so heated up on whether you should eat organic food from China or not that it generated months of discussion in a few groups. So you never know, being a little controversial can actually be interesting. You might get some controversy going. You might get some people that are, don't believe what you're saying, but that's a chance to educate. And you just never know where you'll find, really good people to connect with. So once that's step number 4, and you can see this is actually pretty straightforward, all the steps. So step 5 is to publish things. And below your profile, there's a place for posts, and that's where you post an article. These are some articles that I published a while back for my copywriting. But, Nest has so many articles and so many good, content, so much good content that you can use that this was actually a brilliant thing I saw just yesterday with somebody who is an Nest practitioner or is going to be soon, I'm not sure. So she published, so Chandel, she put up chronic fatigue syndrome, we can help, and then she posted an article from Nest. So I thought that was so brilliant with her own contact information, and so, somebody will read that. She didn't have to write it. She looks like the authority. And she has her website, so, when somebody says, okay, well, this makes sense, I want to find out more, who are they going to call? They're going to call her because her organization is there, and so, she's ready to be contacted and ready to help you. So there's so much you can do, and really a lot of it doesn't take that much work. I mean, it does take a little work to get started, but it doesn't take that much. Now, when you post an article, when you publish in your group, people will often comment or respond or write something themselves or ask you to connect. All of those things can happen. And if someone comments, it's always good to take a moment. This was an article I actually wrote a while back. I wrote, is your business one of a kind or one of a crowd? And so this person, Chris Cook, commented. He's a fitness executive. And he said, we do, that's why we signed up 500 trainers. So I sent a little response saying, great to meet you or whatever, and connected with him. So, that's a good way. You should always respond if someone comments, even if they say something that you disagree with. It's a good chance to clarify or give or educate. People are generally not nasty on LinkedIn. I mean, it's possible, but most people I find are quite cordial and professional. And supportive if you're in the right groups. So it's always important to comment, to respond, and that's how you continue. So I think I'm more or less finished the content part of this. I know there are probably questions, and if there are, I'm happy to answer them. And you can also email the Nest link or on the forum. I will be happy to answer questions afterwards. I just want to kind of conclude my content by saying that don't be afraid of LinkedIn. Just experiment a little, and you're going to find it's fun. You're going to find it's easier than you think, and you're going to find amazing connections. Like, it could really transform your business. So sometimes things that you least expect will happen. People will find you. So get your profile up there, get your picture, get your, get your house in order and start connecting, and you're going to have a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And now I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much. My favorite thing that you talked about were the ninja tricks. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to get into LinkedIn as soon as we're done. So I'm super excited.
Good.
All right, we have some questions. So first, I'll just acknowledge Jan Marie. We're so glad that you joined us from the other side of the planet. Happy to talk with you. Okay, so we have some really good questions from Bobby Staubert. So Bobby says she's got other I have other specializations that I do not want connected to my NES work. Would you recommend starting a new LinkedIn profile?
That's a good question. If you already have a lot of people on there, I would recommend not starting a new profile, but just adding new things, and the old things will be pushed down. If you have very few connections, then you could start a new one. However, you may have to close the one you have, so you may need to start one with a different variation of your name, like with an initial or something. So it really depends. If you are not very much in LinkedIn right now, you could start a new profile.
And thanks, Linda. She also wants to know that she has the animal version of NES. So would you recommend a different profile for the animal work, or would she include it in her regular profile?
No, I would definitely keep it, because I mean, if she wants to sell the animal system, because, hi Bobby, by the way, if she wants to sell it, she might attract people. I mean, there's whole groups of animal health people and animal wellness people and animal people that care about animals. So that could be a big part of her business. And it's still NES and bioenergetics. So I would keep them together and not separate, because someone that's interested in bioenergetics or alternative health, you never know how many of them also are interested in animals, but a lot of them are.
Okay, that's super helpful. Let's see, I have another question. How often should we post? This is from Jan. Hi, Jan. I think that means how often do we post to LinkedIn? How often do we add things to our profile?
The more you post, the better. Now, I mean, within reason, some people just can't. But it's like anything else. If you're very active, you'll start building up a big profile. People will start seeing you. I mean, I would say, especially at the beginning, try to post a fair amount, a few times a week. And now you don't have to write articles yourself all the time. You can post things from NES, or you can post things from the news. You can post things from alternative health websites. You can post anything that's of interest, and you don't have to write it. So just keep, posting updates, even things you find on the internet that's relevant. But be active, especially at the beginning. Once you build a big profile, you could slow down a bit, and other people will be finding you. But at the beginning, it's good to post a lot.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. That's all the questions we have at the moment. We'll see if any more roll in. I have a question, Linda. So, it seems like keywords is really key. It's really it's really kind of everything sort of revolves around keywords. So you threw a bunch out, and thank you for showing us Verina's beautiful profile, because she has some really nice ways of using keywords. How would you recommend we go through and sort of build a library of keywords? What are some efficient ways of doing that?
Well, the first thing is just brainstorm, keywords that you would use for yourself, and that NES uses, like bioenergetics, energy medicine, energy health, anything to do with energy. You can even go to Google and put in the word energy and see what energy practitioner, like just variations of that. Look at any NES practitioners who have profiles and, kind of steal them or copy them, use the same ones. But also look at other, like type in the search box, where you can type it in here, step 4, in the search box, type in things like wellness, natural health, anything that you think could be useful. and see what comes up. And then you might get some good variations of like different combinations of words. I know alternative health is a big one for sure. Wellness, things like that. Also, look at the profiles of other practitioners who maybe are not Nest practitioners, but see what words they use, like health and wellness, or you'll start seeing certain ones turning up a lot, and then you can always change your keywords. Like try a few things, see what happens, and if you need to, there was a very nice list that we looked at before. Well, you could look at your list here, list of connections. In your connections, see what keywords they're using. And where we looked before, right here, I mean, these are all good ones right here, and many more that come from that. So, start with some of those on the right side: wellness, stress management, holistic health, things like that. And just try different ones and, see. And then actually, we can ask each other to endorse those keywords. Like when I click on there, my little profile will show up because I'm endorsing you for wellness. You can endorse me for copywriting. So, we'll like people help each other that way.
Cool. I love that. Okay, let's see. Yes, and so along those same lines, Linda, another question came in the group search. So looking for wellness groups. Please emphasize this a little bit more. I'm a newbie. So if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. So when you go to the top search bar and there's a drop-down menu and it says find a group. So you enter a topic or a keyword. So let's say we put in the word wellness and then I press search. A whole bunch of wellness groups are going to show up. And so you could click one by one and look at the group and see how many people are in the group and what the profiles are of the people in that group. And then you might decide, well, this one doesn't look that good, or this one looks really great, and I want to connect with these people. And so you join that group. Now, you can always leave a group. You're never stuck in a group. So it just takes one click. Once you're inside the group, you press one button and you're out of the group. So never worry, that you're stuck or you made a mistake, because you can leave in a second and join another group. And, you can even start your own group. And now, actually, Nest practitioners should have their own group. Not necessarily just the company page, but a Nest group. But that's another thing. But that's how you find groups, and then just spend a little time in them and see which ones you like, and any ones you don't like, you can leave. Did that answer your question?
I'm not sure, but I think that was good information. We'll see if they come back. If you can, Linda, switch back to the side that shows the cartoon picture for endorsements.
Oh, yeah.
They want to take a grab that. And along those lines, Jan has a really good question about how important are endorsements to increase LinkedIn visibility?
I think they're very important because, if you go on Amazon to buy a book, I don't know about you, but I always read the reviews because I can't see the book itself, so I go by people's reviews. And it's the same thing on LinkedIn, especially because you're offering health services, you're offering possibly remote health services. People are not seeing you in person. So those endorsements and recommendation letters, I think they're, really recommendations, I think they're really important. I read them if I was going to, hire somebody for something. Let's say I was going to hire a graphic designer to do my website or something. So, if you don't have them, I would try to get some, because people do read, they want to read recommendations and endorsements is a good selling point.
Good. And yes, I think that answered the question previously. Thank you for that, Linda. So Jan Marie just has a comment. She says she loves the idea of a Nest group. It's so important that we remain connected. I love that too. Let's start one.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone can contribute. I think for practitioners that would be amazing, because there's so many clients out there. We're not competing with each other. There's enough clients out there for everybody to have more than they can handle. And sharing best practices, marketing tips. It's kind of like a forum that already exists, which is wonderful. It's just another place you know, where you can invite people in to see what's going on at NES. And even if they're not you know, it could be a closed group. You can have closed groups where you don't let anyone else in, only a NES practitioner or NES, you know, people that work with NES. Or you can have an open group where anybody who's interested could be invited in to see what's going on. So those are two options. And it could be a way that you know, connect with other practitioners who are not yet at NES and form relationships with them.
Cool. Yes, I love it. Here's a question. Can we change previous email and add a new email address?
Yes, that's very easy to change your profile. If you go into your connections, you just put in your email here. I mean, just go into your contact information, and when you're in the editing mode, a little pencil pops up on the side, and then you can just edit anything anytime. You can change your links, you can change your email address, you can change anything. There's something else I just want to show that I didn't mention before, is if you look here, LinkedIn gives you your name, like a linkedin.com/ with your name, which you should use, because if you don't get that LinkedIn link, it has a big bunch of numbers that are meaningless. So I can't remember exactly how to get it, but it's pretty simple. I think something pops up, and if not, I could find it for you later. But make sure you get that linkedin.com with your name. Another reason that it's really important to have a LinkedIn profile with a good amount of people is that LinkedIn comes up very high on Google. And so if anyone is typing in energy practitioner, energy medicine, or NES, or anything else, and you have those keywords in your profile, you will pop up very high. Whereas with your own website, it might take forever to be, you know, have enough keywords to pop up high on Google. But LinkedIn, those sites are huge, so they always pop up very, very high, and somebody could find your profile on LinkedIn very easily and find you.
Ooh, that's really helpful, Linda. Thank you. I never thought of that. So here's another question. Since I offer career opportunities in my website, then I should connect with as many different backgrounds besides just wellness.
Is that from Justin, possibly?
No, I'm not sure.
No.
It's
okay.
So they offer, I guess they offer things outside of their wellness practice, other like career opportunities, and so they're talking about connecting with other people with other backgrounds.
Well, put it this way: whoever you want to attract, you put those keywords in. Whatever keywords you have, it's going to attract those people. So if you're in a different area, if you want to combine 2 things or 3 things you're doing, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, put the keywords in. Just try to get rid of any keywords if you don't want to do those services. If you're no longer doing those services, then try to get rid of those keywords, because people will be contacting you and they'll be the wrong people. So you don't want to, you know, spend your time connecting with people that you don't want to connect with.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful. And did you say that we can have 2 profiles on LinkedIn?
Only if they're different. Like, you can have 2 profiles under the exact same name. So if you want to have another profile, you might have to change your name or put in an initial, or you know, do something different with your name. I think LinkedIn only allows you to have one profile at a time. It would be very confusing, actually, to have 2 profiles.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay. And then, so this is about the different levels of LinkedIn, free versus paid. So I see LinkedIn has several plans. Which plans would be good? Which would be good for a beginner? What's good for a beginner?
I would advise not paying anything at the beginning. You can always go to another plan later, but I would say not to, because first of all, once they start billing you. It's sometimes hard to get out of there to stop the billing. But aside from that, I have never used it. Now, if you know who it's really good for? If you're a recruiter or someone like that, you really have to do intense research and find a lot of people. It allows you to send more emails. But for our purposes, I've never paid for it, and I don't think you need it. it's up to you, but it does get expensive, and I don't think it has that much value that we really need it.
Cool, that's helpful. I prefer free myself. All right, so
Yeah.
here's one more question. On the summary, is it a good idea to put our contacts, email, phone number, etc., or not?
Yes, it's a good idea to put everything because um, LinkedIn is a professional forum and you want people to contact you. You want to make it easy for people to contact you. I have not found a lot of spam on LinkedIn. I have not had a lot of bad stuff happen. In fact, really nothing. So, I think it's fine to put it in. I do put it because, I mean, it's not like Facebook where you might be, afraid someone will find out about your family or something. It's not, it's not like that. I think LinkedIn is really a professional forum. If people can't contact you, then, you're defeating the purpose of being there in the first place.
So adding your contact information is a good idea. Probably putting things like your services brochure with prices and things like that maybe isn't such a good idea.
Well, that's a different story. I mean, that I would put on my website if you want to list your services. I would, what you always want to try to do is get them off LinkedIn and onto your website.
I see.
Because that makes it much more personal. So you want to start with LinkedIn, but you don't want to have your whole relationship on LinkedIn. You want to bring people to your website.
Got it. I like that. Awesome. I think that's all of our questions for the moment. If anybody else has any questions, we've got a couple more minutes, and then I think we will call this a very successful webinar. Linda, thank you so much. This was really helpful. I mean, extremely helpful, at least for me. I really appreciate the information, and I think it's going to be helpful for all of us.
Wonderful. Well, your profile is already on the way, Debbie. So just a few more tweaks, and you'll be a star on LinkedIn.
I'm an all-star, right? Okay.
You're an all-star, right?
Will this be available later as recording? Yes, we are recording this. So thank you, Andrea. She pressed the button. So we will definitely have a recording up. It might take a few days, but it will be up. Yeah. So lots of fantastics. Thank you. This was great information. People can't wait to get started. I'm excited. Let's see. I have one more question. Debbie, if we don't have a website, can we use the Nest website? So what I would say is you can certainly direct people to the Nest website. There's lots of information. There's lots of research and videos and things like that. What you might want to do if you don't have a website is craft sort of a template email that you can send to people that maybe has the link to the Nest Health website, and go out to YouTube and Google Nest Health in YouTube, and there's some really nice introductory videos available that you can actually take the link from those YouTube videos, put them in your email, and then you can send email to people and they can click on those links as they want to. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's see. Yes, we will be posting this as a recorded webinar. Oh, Linda, please show your books again.
Oh, sure. And actually, these are clickable. So if you click the links, you'll go right to Amazon. This is to Amazon in the US, Amazon.com. If you live somewhere else, I know they're available in the UK and in Canada. I'm not sure about other places. I believe once it's on Amazon that they're available everywhere in other countries.
Yeah, I think that's right. I love them. I have them on my Kindle. Let's see. Yes, people are writing in and saying, we're changing our profiles tomorrow. I think Nest practitioners are going to have the best LinkedIn profiles. I'm so excited.
Well, we should all connect with each other. So, I mean, anyone who's listening, if I'm not connected with you, send me a connection, send me an invitation. I'll connect, and Debbie will too, and Andrea and anyone else. So we should all be connected.
Yes. There's one more comment. I think this is just a comment, and maybe you may want to speak to this, Linda, before we go. It's about if you're a sales rep. Let's see if I understand. Any sales rep can own that new contact. So I don't know, maybe that's a question about competing with other people on LinkedIn. I'm not sure. It just says the only problem in sales, any sales rep can own that new contact.
I mean, nobody really owns a contact because it's really starting a relationship. I mean, just because you have a contact doesn't mean you've sold a system. Once you get a contact, you have to develop the relationship with them so that you lead them to the place where they buy. So let's say two people, both make the same contact. Well, that person is only going to buy from one person. That person is going to buy from the one they have the best relationship with, the one they trust, the one that shows them, educates them the best. So, honestly, I mean, I'd never think of competition because there's millions of people on LinkedIn, and natural health is one of the biggest areas. There's just tons of people. So if someone else gets the contact and they go with them, I mean, there's more people, just don't worry about it. I mean, that's
Cool.
the way I feel.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Hang on, Linda. Thank. Yeah, can we change previous email and add a new address? Yes, I think she answered that a little earlier, that it's easy to actually change your email address, right?
Very, very easy. It takes just a minute to go into your profile, go into the edit profile, and you can easily, just go into contact information, and you can change anything you want there.
Cool. And just again about this first and second degree, third degree contacts. If you have a second degree contact, hang on, my screen keeps moving. You have a second degree contact. How does that work? On the persons you connect with, their contacts are second degree to you. So the new person doesn't own them. I mean, I don't know. We're getting all this information about owning contacts, which I don't think really applies to LinkedIn.
No. So what this means is when we're first degree contacts, you and I, Debbie, I can send you a message anytime. You can send me a message anytime. If I find someone who's a second degree contact, that means that they're a connection of someone that's a connection to me, but I can't send them a direct message. I have to send them an invitation, connect with them, and then I can send them a message.
Okay.
If it's a third degree contact, I can't even do any of that.
Right. You can just see them. Okay. Okay. I think that's everything. I think we've answered everyone's questions. This was great. Linda, thank you so very much for taking the time tonight to share your expertise with us. And really looking forward to seeing everybody's profiles get updated. I'm going to start looking. I'm looking for you guys.
Sounds good. Let's connect on LinkedIn.
Let's do it. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Thank you, everyone, for attending. It was a great questions. Really appreciate all of your input and feedback. And this will be up soon. And we look forward to seeing you in our next webinar. Thanks very much.
Good night.
Bye-bye.